Welcome back to part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, do go back. It will make much more sense. 21 days ago, I made a commitment to myself to run every single day, 15 minutes minimum, but every day. And I wanted to document this process 21 days in. Maybe I'll do updates later down the line to see what happened, to see what changed and how things were affected. Point number 8 today. Let me go back to my notes. My support kit. I think that habits are way easier if you have things in place to support the action. And for me, it's about organization. It's about logistics. It's about being on top of the washing, not necessarily the washing. I can do all of that. It's the drying, especially in this weather, making sure I've got kit, I know where things are, and getting really organized. Because if I have to spend 10 minutes in the morning looking for my kit, going through the ironing pile, whatever, that is a delay in terms of me getting my trainers on. And for me, putting my trainers on and going out the door is often the hardest obstacle. So what I need to do is to be able to clear all that stuff, get really organized. It's also meant that I've done this a lot in the mornings as well. So in terms of my expectations from my children, that sounds a bit serious, but in terms of how I can help them be part of the process too. And obviously I want them to be independent and know where their stuff is and all the rest of it. I've really put those structures in place to support this goal. Preparation. Sometimes this is preparation of my mind as well, and preparing myself for doing the thing. So that means going to bed at a reasonable time. That means making sure I stay on top of my water intake. And that means sometimes listening to some music as I'm getting ready. That means listening to a podcast or watching something motivational that goes, come on, kid, you can do this. Let's go. Let's get on with this. And I think we can get very consumed with our present feelings. And what I found in this reset that I've been talking about this year is a lot of those feelings are not who I am. Who I am is somebody who goes for it, who is ambitious, who is ready, who will get the job done, all of these things. And so those whispers of, you don't have to do it today, it's all right, doesn't matter anyway, they are not the true essence of me. So preparation has been really key because it's helped me almost like pull the top layer of like gunk off something. That's what it's felt. So I can clear the way and I can do what I need to do. Number 10, I think we are. Anyway, there's 3 parts. You can work out the numbers yourself. Applaud yourself. If you see me out and about running around North London if you saw me last Sunday, I was really tired last Sunday. We'd had visitors. There'd been a lot of like logistics and doing things. And I went out early and I had a time limit because my son was going to football. I had to be back in time. And I literally felt like it was the last thing I wanted to do. And what I did was I talked to myself the whole way round. And not in a, what have I got to do today? What am I going to eat today? In a, you can do this. Look how strong your legs are. Go on, look what you're doing. You've done that bit already. Go. You just need to go around that corner now. I literally spoke to myself the whole time like that. If people saw me, they might have been worried, like, that woman's really talking to herself. Yes, I was, because that's what I needed. But do you know what is important? Applauding yourself for all the day in, day out stuff that you do. I am so keen on doing this with clients. When I work with people over a longer period of time, they get my voice notes. Well done, you did that. Yes, brilliant. Congratulations, you sent the email. Because I think so many of us are programmed to go, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, I just did this thing. Like, oh, I don't know. I just did what was expected. No, you probably didn't feel like it every single day. Or maybe you had something that you felt was getting in your way. So the fact that you did it, the fact that you moved through it, please notice all those things. The next person, this has really been about identity and becoming the person who does. And there may be times when I can't. And I know everybody else's situation is different. And there have been times, certainly in my own life, when this goal, this habit would have been completely out of reach. And so I'm not assuming that everybody is in the same boat with the same abilities, capabilities, time, capacity, etc. Because I know that this has not been the case. However, in terms of this, right now, I can do it. I mean, who knows what might happen tomorrow, but today and for the last 20 days, I have been able to do this. And it's really interesting because I think we are bizarrely, and I don't know if it's about being like the underdog or not getting too full of yourself, but this self-sabotage thing, like there's this narrative that not everybody wants us to really succeed. You know, that moment when people fail or they get cancelled or something happens, and you know, there's various degrees of that. But if let's just talk about like an innocent mistake, people jump on those things like, yeah, well, told you so, yeah, da 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 da. And it's so easy to let those habits fall in terms of your life in the way that you say, yeah, well, I don't know, like maybe who do I think I am? Who do I think I am becoming that person? Well, I'll tell you, that person that you want to be is you. And so what you just need to do is to take the action to become that person. And in going through that process, you will have some pushback. You will. And it will come in many different ways. And I was actually saying this to my son the other day because he thought that he said he did some really good work and then he thought he might get Star of the Week and then he didn't get Star of the Week. And I said to him, it's not always about being validated by somebody else. Like, yes, you are the star. I said, don't let anybody undo all of that hard work that you know you have done. Because I know he wouldn't have come to me saying, oh, I did this and this happened and all the rest of it, unless he felt really proud of himself and worthy of that Star of the Week thing. And so I said to him, like, remind yourself about what that did, that all of that identity stuff of putting one step in front of the other, achieving this, doing this next thing, trying again when you found something hard. Identity is a really interesting one. Be flexible and do it anyway. So I know sometimes people love morning routines, like between 5 and we've heard them all on the internet, haven't we? Between 5 and 6, I do this. I start with a cup of lemon and and they do it in that way. However, my life is not, it can't be that regimented because I care for other people. And sometimes my daughter will appear. She's often another one that's up first and, you know, will need me or I'm still in that moment and I'm not going to not meet their needs. And I also got into a habit with the way that Matt was working that I would go at this particular time of day. Very early in the process, his work schedule changed and it kind of set my running schedule upside down. And it was so interesting, my reaction to this. For me, I mean, it's not that interesting. It's pretty predictable. I was like, oh, I can't go today then. And I had to stop myself and go, what? What happened? You can't go today. We said 15 minutes. Are you in or are you out? What are you going to do? And even if that was, right, you're going to have to run back from school, or you're going to have to take the kids and run around the block, or do something. I was so quick to let go of my habit. And I have not been that quick since, because, again, that was very much an old behavior. Notice the negative whispers. They're going to come up, whether they come from other people, which they may do, whether they come from yourself, maybe they come from people on the internet. I don't know. People who sort of make a judgment on you. And sometimes that is you making a judgment on you. And noticing the negative whispers, because I know sometimes people will say, like, just shut down the trolls, and they sort of mean that in their normal life, like, just don't speak to those people. But I'm always interested in now what they have to say. And I've done a lot of work on this, actually. You know, people who used to bully me and steal my lunch money and all of that kind of gunk I have from my childhood. I now can look through an adult's eyes of thinking, I wonder why they did that. I wonder why they did that. Why was that the case? Of course it wasn't right, but why did they do that? And so when I have that negative feeling that comes up, or if somebody says something, or, you know how it is when you're changing, like, oh, she's a bit obsessed with that. And with that comment, essentially, like, oh, she's a bit obsessed with that, there are so many negative things that I'm obsessed with, and nobody bothers. It's somehow, if you're doing something positive, it rattles people a little bit. So yeah, that's been really interesting. But again, people will tell you, just keep squashing those, get them out the way, bat them away. But I have spent time having conversations with those negative whispers as well. I think, are we there? I think we're there. We are there for part 2. Thank you so much for listening. Come back for part 3. What are your habits? What are you putting in place? Do you want to do this? Are you saying to yourself, January is your year? If so, what are you doing to support that desire? What are you putting in place? We can't just say it. Actions speak louder than words. We know this. If you are game, if you want somebody in your pocket, one-to-one, supporting you every step of the way for the month of January, come and be one of my monthly moves people. I'm taking calls before Christmas. So if you want support, if you want help, let's do it. I'm ready. Are you? Are you ready? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.